No one is speaking to this one thing that defines being a healthy human being, defines being a safe person, and actually being in healthy intimacy and relationship. Stick around, we're going to explore this. But first, let me tell you the question that was asked of me that prompted this deeper exploration. And I think you'll be quite surprised as to what that thing actually is that no one's really speaking to. I was being interviewed today, and the gentleman said, "Hey, what is it about being a healthy role model?" Steph, you're telling us that as children, very few actually experience healthy role modeling. What is it? What does it mean to be a healthy adult or a healthy parent and helping your children become healthy adults? Like, what does that child actually need? And I paused and I thought about this for a moment, and I could have gone into so many different directions, and I nearly did. But I paused and I decided to stay on one point. Now, before I get there, let me just show you something. I'm really, really proud of this. Tuned in and turned on, published with Hay House. This is the first of two books that are coming with Hay House, and this book speaks profoundly and deeply to this one thing that I'm speaking to. I'm about to tell you, and I'm about to share with you now. Before I get there, let me just share something that's really important. As children, we are like sponges. We're hypnagogic. We're self-referential. What do these terms mean? It means that we make the world about us and that we absorb everything, both consciously and unconsciously. For so many of us, we grow up in a pretty volatile, uncertain, scary, sometimes unsafe, unpredictable environment. Maybe your parents have divorced. Maybe you're moving schools or moving suburbs. Maybe you're stuck in the middle of six siblings and you're just not really being seen. Maybe you're just feeling hurt or sadness. Maybe there's a physiological brain imbalance. There's nothing wrong with you, but your parents, your family, your people around you don't know how to be with that. And so you start to shut off from the world. These survival strategies that we develop in order to feel safe in our bodies, they continue into adulthood. They perpetuate almost in perpetuity unless we actively, deliberately, intentionally choose to change them. So what we experience growing up, where we get really scared, we contract, we hide from the world, we bring that into our adult lives and our adult relationships and our adult intimacy. And so I go back to that question that man asked me today: what is healthy role modeling? What do we need so that we don't take this pain, we don't carry this fear or these fears, this need to control, this sense that people aren't safe, that the world isn't safe, that relationships are unsafe, that you can't trust men, you can't trust women, you just can't really be you. You can't be in your truth. You've got to wear masks. What is that one thing that we need that would change everything? And it's one word: repair. What is that? What does that mean? Well, I never, not once actually, witnessed the core adults in my life repair with each other. Let me explain. Let me break this down. They never once said sorry to each other for mistreating each other. They swore at each other. They screamed at each other. They physically abused each other. They abused myself and my brother physically. There was never a sorry. There was never a repair. There was never an acknowledgement of an action that was hurting them and hurting us, that was creating fear, creating tension, contributing to volatility and uncertainty and fear in the environment. You see, when children experience a parent or a primary caregiver or adults actually say sorry and mean it, and there's a process of repair, there's a process of acknowledgement, there's a process of the ego dissolving, there's a process of accountability and responsibility. That child in that moment learns that it's okay to be human. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to do things or say things that aren't necessarily nice. And there's some caveats to this, of course. There's nuance to this. Of course, there are conditions, if you like, to this. But generally speaking, if we carry an intention to just be good people, to meet each other with compassion and non-judgment, to not hurt each other, to think before we act, to seek to understand each other. And we show that to our children. Those children become you, become me, become adults that function through the world, that then don't become conflict averse, that don't run away or leave conflict or avoid it or leave too early. They're not insecure about themselves. They can be in their truth, in their voice. They move from a disempowered place, because that's what trauma or intense experiences often do. They cause a disruption in our nervous systems. We move into a hypervigilant sympathetic response, and that activated sympathetic response becomes our baseline, and we move away from feeling safe in our bodies. And what does that mean? Well, now we're disempowered. We don't have our voice. We don't have a sense of self-worth. And we bring that into intimacy. So we may hide. We may get really big and angry when we face conflict. We may run away at the first sign of difficulty. We may not trust someone. So they are guilty before proven innocent. And we're meeting people with that energetic, that relational pattern, all because we never really witnessed people taking ownership of their stuff. Let me give you an example. When I raise my voice or when I say something that's inappropriate in front of my wife or to my child, I want to repair that as soon as possible. I want to take ownership. I want to soften and lower my voice. I want to be accountable for those actions. I want to say the words, I am truly sorry. What can I do to repair? How can I support you? If I'm working with an adult, I'm speaking to an adult, I'm communicating with an adult, the conversation, the words, the verbiage used, the communication is a little different. I will be more aware of the root cause of that, not to give myself excuses, but to give reasoning for that person to be able to understand me, and that I would want to seek and be curious to understand them as well. With a child, it's a little different. The language is more simple. It's as quickly as possible. It's sincere. It's meaningful. It's, I made a mistake and I'm promising to continue to not make those kinds of choices again. Now, this is important. If you're just saying sorry for the sake of saying sorry and you continue to make the same choices that hurt other people, and you think by just saying sorry it's okay, it's not really okay. You're not really growing. These are learning opportunities, they're growth opportunities, and it may take a minute, it may take a few takes, right? And we've got to be okay with that. But let me go back to that. And if we're not okay with it, actually, we're not in acceptance, we're not in surrender to that, and we're in tension with that, and you're going to feel shame, which is going to want to hide because that's what shame does, and we're going to run from ourselves. So the thing that we need the most growing up is to witness genuine repair, genuine, wholehearted repair. It is a game changer for how we then move through the world, because now we build a template for, people can be safe. People can do things that aren't nice or aren't kind, but they can come back to connection. They can come back to homeostasis. You're giving children a real template for growth, for trusting their bodies, for leaning into deeper conversations that may be challenging, that may be confronting. You're not in avoidance. You're not showing them a pattern of avoidance. You're not showing them a pattern of leaving a wreck behind and then not being accountable for it, where then people cannot trust others. And so if you've experienced any of this growing up, especially a lack of witnessing repair, it could be contributing to the relational dysfunction and the relational patterns that keep playing over and over again that you're having in your world. Attracting unavailable people, thinking you're not worthy of real love, being conflict averse, or getting really big and defensive in conflict and trying to power over people because that's what you witness, because we play out what's familiar, right? But all of these are opportunities. Relationships are mirrors and they're opportunities for growth, really deep, profound growth. And if we give ourselves the opportunity, and it's never too late, by the way, to start with repair, and you can get this book, tunedinandturnedonbook.com. You can see the link right here. By the way, there's a stack of bonuses that come with that as well. We have an opportunity. It's never too late. We have an opportunity to begin that repair process now with ourselves, with the behaviors that we have, the things that we may not like about ourselves, that we judge about ourselves, because that's another byproduct of not witnessing repair. We become highly judgmental and critical. So by default, we're pushing people away and we're creating massive distance, emotional and relational distance. This affects our spirituality. It affects our sense of self, our sense of connection to self. It affects us being willing to explore the mystery that is life. We lack confidence. Repair is massive. And look, this 10-minute or so video is not going to do justice to how powerful this is. Again, there's more information on this here. And this concept and notion of repair is going to be in my second book as well. And I'm going to start creating a lot more content on this because it is so important, yet so simple. And there are so many communication tools such as NVC, such as imago therapy, that can aid and support you in communicating better, that lend themselves to repair. Seeking to understand something, prioritizing, seeking to understand something about someone and seeking to understand someone, being curious about them and meeting them with non-judgment and compassion is a massive part of the repair process. For now, I'm going to leave it there. Comment what your thoughts are, what your experience has been with this, if you resonate with this, and get your copy of Tuned In and Turned On at tunedinandturnedonbook.com. Stack of awesome bonuses, including a cool reverse interview with myself and my wife, Christine Hassler. Thanks so much. I'll see you next time.